Mumbai. It is known as the city of dreams, but also as the city that doesn't sleep. Films set in Mumbai capture different realms that reside in this complex tapestry, from a promise of a better life to a trap of an endless pursuit. It is a city that can make dreams fly, or a city that can break the human spirit. If you're Mumbai, you romanticize its confines, for it is the only way to keep moving, which is all Mumbai really cares about. Let's see through three distinct films how filmmakers have captured the essence of this city that we love and hate. The city that we love to hate and the city that we hate to love. Even if you're not a Mumbaikar, you must have heard this term being thrown around a lot. But what is this spirit of Mumbai? Is it the unwavering grit that the city demonstrates? Is it the joy that the citizens unearth even after living in the most deprived conditions? Maybe it is the warmth and the softness of the residents, even in minimal comforts. No one can pin it down to a single thing. It is something that is beyond a concrete definition, and such a thing can only be captured by art. There are films that do it in different ways, including Mumbai Meri Jaan and Wake Up Sid amongst others. But does anything come closer than The Lunchbox, the movie inspired by the world-famous Dabbawalas? Very few films can capture the mundane so well, and most that do are made by our Western counterparts. So we must give credit to director Ritesh Batra. The Lunchbox does not just capture the spirit of Mumbai, but also delivers a well-told story about the everyday life of its citizens. The story follows the birth of a new relationship between Ela, a woman in a failing marriage, and a man named Sergeant Fernandez, a government officer. When the lunchbox that was supposed to be delivered to Ela's husband reaches Sergeant, the film starts off with shots of the Mumbai local, the familiar devotional songs that one hears regularly in them, rain threats, and the slow-paced cuts of the streets of Mumbai. You can almost smell the aroma of freshly baked vadas on a rainy Mumbai day in the first 5 minutes of the film. We are soon introduced to Sajan, a man who is floating through the city with no purpose. He is cold and uncaring, and while we know his wife has died, we don't know if that is the cause of his demeanor. It is purposely kept unclear since Sajan represents a major chunk of the city whose dreams have turned into monotonous routines. We have a directly antithetical character to Sajan, Aslam Sheikh, who is kind and consistently smiling, even naively so. Sajan is tasked to train this man as a replacement for him, but puts it off in the most desi bureaucratic way possible.
ट्रेनिंग शुरू करें सर?
करते हैं ना। अभी तो लंच का टाइम।
But Sajan starts warming up to Aslam as he and the audience figure out that this is not a man who is naively joyful, but an orphan who has had a tough childhood and has had to do everything by himself, including choosing his own name. In this cold city, Aslam stands as a reminder to keep forging our way with a smile, no matter what. And that the minutest things can give rise to human happiness, which comes close to the heart of the movie and the city. Meanwhile, Ela is a simple woman trying to rekindle her relationship with her husband and failing in each step of the process. Her husband is in a constant pursuit of making more money to meet inflation's demands, a saying too familiar for our ears. This is critiqued metaphorically in the story of her neighbor Mrs. Deshpande's husband's obsession with staring at the fan, almost dying when the fan stopped running due to a cut in electricity. Ela's husband's constant pursuit is as meaningless to Ela as Mr. Deshpande's obsession with the fan. The city is filled with millions and yet makes one scrounge for connections. Filled with strangers, having a small, warm private corner means everything for its residents. The need for genuine connections here is so dire that it shows up in the actions of all our characters. You see, the two people closest to Ela after her daughter are Mrs. Deshpande and Sajan, both of whom she never meets on screen. There is a very strong symbolism conveyed through what does not happen on screen. Sajan touches the core of the city when he says,
I think we forget things if we have no one to tell them to.
The movie also comments on what makes Mumbai the city of dreams. It is a city where everyone can dream, or so they say. This is what Sajan had forgotten and almost gave up on when he decides he will not meet Ela in person because she is young and beautiful, while he is an old man who has only been living in a daydream.
You're young. You can dream. And for some time you let me into your dreams. And I want to thank you for that.
But when both of them have blunt realizations about their condition, both try their best to meet each other. And the movie ends before we get to know if they do. I think the filmmakers have left that up to the audience intentionally so that we can also dream. So while the movie captures many things elegantly, through Aslam's silent battles seen only through scenes like him cutting vegetables in the train to save time, and Sarjan being the only person showing up from his side on his wedding day, and him, in spite of all this, swallowing the pain and smiling. Through Sarjan's constant commentaries on the city, and through Ila's determination to dream, even after sharp realizations, including the infidelity of her husband, there's something else about it as well. You see, the city cannot give you Dostoevsky's because the flavor of existentialism is not in its dread that one can question, but rather in its indifference that one is too exhausted to even recognize. But for all of its grace, it offers warmth, or at least the opportunity for it. And this is what the Lunchbox is exceptionally successful in capturing. But not everyone looks at Mumbai in the same way the Lunchbox looks at it. In fact, most look at the more glamorous side of Mumbai and have burned the image of the city of Bollywood in their minds. And who can really blame them? Who comes to Mumbai with the dreams of travelling in a local train every day and getting a secure government job? This image of glamour, whether fanciful or not, inspires many to make their way to Mumbai in the dreams of winning the lottery ticket to becoming the king or queen of show business. Millions come, a handful make it, and the story of these handfuls inspire another round of millions. But even for the handful that do make it, what is it that they give up? Luck by chance is one of the best critiques of the Bollywood industry. I am aware of the irony here. The movie is filled to the brim with the biggest of actors showing up as cameo roles, since it is the directorial debut for Zoya Akhtar. But you got to acknowledge the craftsmanship. She has managed to do it and fit them all in authentically. Luck by Chance is a story of a young, struggling actor as he gets his first break. In this film, Mumbai is a city that houses the show business. The movie starts off with a tour of the Bollywood industry. Not just the stars, but the wannabe stars and the ones behind the stars. We are introduced to our main character, an ambitious actor, Vikram Jaisi. We see his talent and his charm in his acting class. Also, side note, the film leaves no chance to comment on the industry. Right after, we are introduced to the whole cast who are playing directors, actors and producers in the industry. A common characteristic among them is that all of them can lie effortlessly through their teeth, almost as if it was second nature to them. We will see them say something to a person and then swear on the exact opposite thing as soon as the person leaves the room. We will see people's narratives change depending on the circumstances. Truths will change based on the company one has. Hypocrisy and being shallow are the norm here. Sycophantism is an exception. Nepotism, a hard reality. We are also introduced to Sona Mishra, a struggling actress performing in supporting roles to make ends meet. She is a good woman but comes off as gullible. I mean, she is sure that a small-time producer will keep his promise of casting her in a main role once his film is greenlit. The city in Luck by Chance tests you to see how morally compromised you are. Someone with even the most basic moral conduct cannot survive in this world of lies. All we are waiting to see is what will happen to this seemingly good guy Vikram. How far will the industry or the city take him, or more accurately, uncover his moral weaknesses? We get the first hint at his true character when he quote-unquote borrows the grandfather clock from his Masi. But in the first watch, he just comes off as not just charismatic, he is smart. In return for this favor, his friend takes him to a big premiere where he gets to see the biggest of stars. At this party, he uses his charm to work up to Neena Walia, a household name who is working towards launching her daughter Nikki. He, as I'm sure all of us, knows the importance of connections and networks in this city. After all his critiques of luck and how it plays no role in making a man's life, his profile makes its way to the big producers by sheer luck. In this city, many have talent, many struggle, and yet their works do not see the light of day. Luck is an important factor everywhere, but the movie shows that it is especially important in a city like Mumbai. Vikram's talent, both as a good actor in front of the camera and his charming up to Neena, worked to get him the dream lead role in the biggest of movie productions. Now comes the true test of his character. Things turn around for him quickly. Friends get jealous, relatives are unusually sweet, the main heroine starts fancying him, and fame begins to tempt him. He can feel its power surrounding him and he enjoys it. It all builds up to this scene with him and Nikki alone in his room when she asks him the golden question.
तुम्हारी कोई गर्लफ्रेंड है?
Here, we uncover an ugliness in Vikram. You see, up till now, his motivation for acting in cunning ways has been justified. But we have lost him here. He has no reason to be disloyal to Sona. Nikki has asked him a direct question. Turning her down will have no impact on his role. It's not like Nikki has a say in the bigger matters as well. In fact, all this will do is create troubles. Yet, he chooses to go ahead, and the bigger issue is he doesn't even think about Sona at that moment. So when Sona shows up, of course he is taken aback. She picks up on his weirdness, which confirms the rumor she has heard. Sona's friends' comments to her makes the city's divide between the celebrities and the rest clear. This is a city that can bring out the worst in you. In fact, it is an open playground for it. The amount of success the city can give you overnight is truly extraordinary.
जैसे इस शहर में लाइफ ओवरनाइट बदल जाती है ना,
but only if you play by its rules. This, however, was never a problem for Vikram, was it? We keep uncovering more and more of who he truly is. He snaps at Nikki, lying to her again, even after the truth about Sona and him has come out, telling her that she might not have to worry so much about her image if she had any talent. He also berates Sona, accusing her of being resentful and a credit whore. The words in the magazine called him a manipulating opportunist, and we do not disagree. Even after he realizes his mistakes with some help, he cannot hide from what he truly is, something Sona knows better than anyone.
तुम्हें यकीन नहीं मेरी बात का?
ऐसी बात नहीं है विक्रम। मैं जानती हूँ कि तुम सच बोल रहे हो, इसलिए कि तुम सचमुच ही इतने ही सेल्फिश हो।
A nature that the city will reward him for with money and fame, and emotional bankruptcy and discontentment. Mumbai need not turn you into a corrupt person. It just needs to give a conducive environment for the worst within you to come out. Your own tendencies will take care of your descent from there. Power, money, fame. These are the most primary drivers of an individual in modern human society. Mumbai is the city of dreams because there is no limit to what one can turn into reality here. And it's not just through the most apparent businesses like commerce or glamour that the path to lavishness can be carved. As brightly lit are the sets of the film city, so are the alleys darkened by the shadow of the underworld.
बम्बई रात की बाहों में रहता है और रात की बाहों में रहते हैं कुछ खतरनाक इरादे, कुछ खतरनाक लोग.
You see, Mumbai is too small for an underworld network to run without being noticed. But that has never been a problem for it. If anything, the underworld has been an influence on the city, an open secret. There was a time when the youth was charmed by the sparkle cast by the power-inducing ornaments of illicit means. This is the city that Once Upon a Time in Mumbai aims to capture. This film, directed by Milan Luthria, is a classic one about a small-time smuggler's rise to the top of the underworld. The story follows Sultan Mirza as he grabs the keys to the city through sheer force of character. You see, before Sultan, the underworld was divided into parts with 5 influential people struggling to gain control over the city and therefore over each other. In comes this migrant who has toiled day and night, worked with coal and has smuggled gold. A man who steals from the rich and gives to the poor even if it means sleeping hungry. But most importantly, a man who has fallen in love with the city. Sultan Mirza unites the 5 parties and creates a syndicate that looks to him as their leader. For his ambition and courage, the city awards him with a throne. But wearing the crown that rules the darkest of alleys means a constant wariness. One cannot afford to rest here. But in the eyes of the common folks, such men are usually glorified. Especially a man like Sultan, who though involved in the most nefarious of affairs, is a man of principles. A man who will not allow his syndicate to do anything that will weaken the city, even if it means putting his own life on the line. In such a world, the children glorify a man like that instead of the hard-working men making an honest living. This is represented by Shoaib Khan, a man with a relentless thirst for power. Even after 1,000 attempts to force some sense into him by his father, a man loyal to his duty and the nation, he keeps getting more and more immersed in the world of crime. Shoaib is all about what can go wrong in this line of business. A man who has no regard for codes and wants the glory of being the king of the underworld. For such a man, it is only his recognition that matters in this city.
पहचान ही तो बनानी है ना सब, और इस शहर में करना ही क्या है?
A line that still echoes in different variations by youth of the city, by kids who romanticize the underworld, whose immediate goal is just to spend a few years in jail in order to make a name for themselves. His perspective of his father and the law tells us how men who come from the realm of crime look at the system. a weak and incapable force, too tied up to do anything about what happens out on the streets. A message echoed even by Shoaib's father. It is rather the powerful men like Sultan that runs the street and holds them together. If you think that the only men vulnerable to this invisible power of corruption are the ones with unhinged ambition and narrowness of mind as Shoaib, think again. While men like him are easy victims for its possession and eagerly give up their minds and their sense of morality, it affects everyone around them as well. It sneaks out of your weakness, it tricks you into its den and punishes you harshly. Shoaib's father had never taken a single bribe in 18 years of his service, but his weakness was his attachment to his son. In a final attempt to get Shoaib on the right track again, he asked Sultan for a favor that allowed Shoaib to finally meet his idol, a favor that will eventually push Shoaib too far into the underworld, and this is the crux of the city. Like Shoaib's father, Sultan is also a principled man. As someone with a strong moral compass, his intentions have always been on the right side. That is what makes this man respected in this city. Not just feared, something Shoaib fails to understand. But such is the manner of this side of the city. It does not care for your intentions. It only tests to see if you are daring enough. That means the forces that Sultan fosters are bound to rise, not waiting for his approval or whether to check if they are on the right side of morality. Sultan's web of connections and influence is what strangles him. Sultan came to Mumbai as a child who had lost everything. Mumbai gave him all the comforts and glory one could ask for. Being a man of character, he upheld the well-being of the city. He did it for the people what even the government could not do. But at the end of the day, he was a crime lord, and the city pulled the plug on him before he could escape into a legitimate way of being. This story was never about Shoaib. It is about a man who invokes forces that are bound to swallow him up one day, taking not just him, but his most prized possessions. It wasn't enough for Sultan to lose his life and the city, but also the city he kept safe now descended into chaos. The one who lives by the sword dies by it. And this city cannot be bothered with your intentions and what you want to do with the sword. It will let you climb its ladder, and it will be the one that makes sure you fall off it. So such is the story of Mumbai. A common thread of ambition runs through its core. Sometimes ambition takes the shape of an endless mundane pursuit. Sometimes it uncovers your true reality with the glitter of glamour. And well, sometimes it swallows you whole. Both in its present shape or as some movies depict it in its more older form, Mumbai survives on the dreams of the people who reside there. So the next time you watch a film set in Mumbai, take notice of how the city shapes its characters and its story. Tell us about your favorite film set in Mumbai. As always, like, share and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.